Be a nightmare, even driving up and watching if the fire's burning. If
You
what
seen
was
Gone
that?
with the Wind?
Yes.
That house burning?
Yeah.
Times
So when you
4.
I remember a time, and we'll talk about that in a second, but there's some setbacks you've had. But even in the setbacks, God always made a way. And it's almost like it's like that Man on Fire movie. You see the big fire, all of a sudden he comes walking through it.
Yeah.
And that's, I've loved it.
We did. In 92, we had a fire
Right.
at Masterbuilt that took half our building.
Wow.
It was actually March 1st. It was my birthday.
I remember that now.
And then 6 months later, in October, we had another fire that took the other half. It destroyed everything that we had. So we were kind of, trying to figure out how are we going to survive.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It was, we lost half so we could operate out of the other half.
Right.
And then while we're operating out of that one, we bought another building and started moving our products into that when we lost the second side of it. So we were able to survive 2 very devastating fires.
But it had to be a nightmare, even driving up and watching if the fire's burning. If
you
what
seen
was
Gone
that?
with the Wind?
Yes.
That house burning?
Yeah.
Times
So when you
4.
So when you got the call to go, was it in the middle of the night or something like that?
No, it was actually we got the call. I was at my dad's house. We got the call that our alarm had gone off. So we're thinking, maybe a false alarm or whatever. So Don and I kind of meander around for a couple of minutes. We get in our truck and heading down. Well, obviously, if you have an emergency, that gives you a legal right to do 100 miles an hour. So we're speeding down the road, not thinking that it's a fire. We're just thinking that it's just, false alarm at the office. And we come on to 2nd Avenue, top the hill, and we can see from a distance the fire and knew that it was a problem.
Wow.
So, we survived that. You remember service merchandise?
I remember that. I remember when you went through that. Tell us about that one. That's
So service merchandise was our largest account, and when we had the fires, they kind of survived that through us.
and they were the big ones.
They were the big
Yeah,
one.
that's where I bought
was
Debbie's
our
wedding
Walmart.
ring. That Jesus diamond I talk about. It cost me $89 for a wedding ring.
Jesus,
So little only Jesus could see it. That's where I bought it. Service merchandise.
Yeah. You go with the conveyor belt, brought product down to you.
That's right.
So we were selling those guys, and I can't remember the actual date of it, but they filed bankruptcy, and they were our largest account and had the highest receivable amount with our company at that point.
Yeah, so they had about half or more than half of all of your income.
Yeah, which was a lesson. God you have great nuggets. That's why we love this morning. We love hearing you preach. Love Brother Brent, obviously, because we always get nuggets.
Right.
That was a lesson that I had learned, because service merchandise owned 50% of our receivables and the majority of our revenue. And we said you can't have that much dependence on one account and one product. So we tried to diversify, from that lesson. And we might have done it anyway, but it's interesting. You can hear things and read things and be told things and see things, but when you experience things,
that's right.
It is a whole nother lesson that tells you what you need to do.
I had an old retired sergeant one time tell me this. He says, there's some things I know, and there's some things I know. And he just changed the word he said know.
And the things you know are the things you probably experience.
That's right.
Yeah. So we go through all of those periods, go through the fires, we go through service merchandise, and we just continue to grind it out, to fight it out, and continue to put our thoughts on being innovators in the industry. And the latest product that we've come out with is a product called Gravity Series, which is a charcoal grill. And Masterbuilt has always been in the electric smoker business, and it's still a staple item today. doing phenomenal, and our electric turkey fryers are still doing phenomenal. And this new product that we've come out with, and we're now, what is 2001 right now? So we're 48 years in our business. We're close to 5 decades in our business. Wow. And we've got these products that have kind of written our story over the years. And this particular product, a guy named Olin Powell at Masterbuilt helped us develop this product with our engineering team. And he came to me and he said, hey, and this was back in 2000 and maybe 16 when we were starting to develop this product. It took us about 3 to 3.5 years to get in the market. He said, I want to develop a product that is a gravity series charcoal that we can take to barbecue cook-offs.
All right, explain how that works, because I'm...
The gravity series?
Yeah.
All right, so a lot of people are familiar with pellet grills.
Yeah.
You load the pellets into a hopper, it feeds to a burner, and you cook with pellets.
And it regulates how much
and it regulates how much. So people love. Traeger, one of our competitors, done a phenomenal job in the industry promoting that product. Well, we didn't want to come out with another pellet grill. We didn't want to come out with something that everybody in the industry had done. So I told Olin, I told him no on his wanting to develop this product. I said, because we are not in the barbecue cook-off industry. We are not building $5,000, $10,000 trailer grills. We sell to consumers that want to cook in their backyard. And I said, so.
You know your market.
If you can develop a big trailer version of it and put the focus on making that for $500 to $1,000 for everybody's backyard, I'll give you the budget to do it. He said, done. So we built a trailer about the size of this room, got gravity on it, and they took it to a competition and figured out, what people were looking for. And then got with Home Depot and Walmart and all of our big retailers and said, hey, we're coming up with this concept to be able to, like my cup, you load your charcoal into this hopper, your grill is over here, and the charcoal gravity feeds down and burns in this firebox, and it forces the heat into a manifold so that you can smoke at low temperatures, which you love to smoke.
Yeah, that's smart.
And then you can barbecue at a temperature, and you can sear. So I can take that smoker, if it's you're smoking your food, from 150 to 275 degrees and low smoke. Then I can turn it to 350 to 450 and grill a burger.
Wow.
Then I can turn it to 700 degrees and sear a steak.
Yeah.
So it basically does everything that you want. If you love smoking, it's a perfect grill. If you love barbecue, it's a perfect grill. If you want to sear at high temperatures.
So it's got to be, I've never thought about it, I guess it also must be important as to the amount of charcoal you put, anyway, because that's going to affect the taste. Because I have grilled before, and I know I must have put too much charcoal. So
sometimes it depends on the flavor of the charcoal. We use Kingsford. We have Masterbuilt. We have a really good relationship with Kingsford, but we have our own Masterbuilt charcoal, lump charcoal now. What's nice about this product is when you put the charcoal in, there's zero guesswork to how much. You just fill the hopper up. When it gets low, you put more in it. So during the process of charcoal grilling, sometimes if you run low, you got to take all your food off, take your grill racks out, and load more charcoal in it, and then restart it. You never use lighter fluid, so you don't have any of that taste. You add wood chips to it to make it, more smoke flavor. Miss Debbie wants to put that on her mac and cheese, and it was people love the charcoal grill, but they don't like the hassle.
Yeah, that's right.
They love the charcoal grill. They don't like the cleanup. They love the charcoal grill, but they don't like the process. We solved every single problem in that industry to the point that Weber, who is the giant in the industry, they're the billion-dollar competitor, wrote an article or was being interviewed, and in the article said that Masterbuilt had come up with technology in the charcoal industry that got everybody's attention.
Yeah. You always were. You were always, that was the thing about Masterbuilt, you were always the cutting edge, the pioneer.
Trying to be.
That's right. And you did it. You did it well.
And it's a testament to our team.
Yeah.
The employees that were within our company had a good passion for the company, and they wanted to help us grow. They loved using the products too. They were trying to solve a problem that they
would use,
which is what our consumers.
All right, let me ask you this. We talk about your team and all that. What, with a company like that, there's a lot of challenges, and one of them is even in the hiring of the right people.
Yes.
What was how did you hire, or what was you looked for?
Referrals were really good for us. If we knew somebody within the industry, or if we knew somebody that we had kind of followed their story just a little bit, that was kind of their interview. We knew a little bit more about them, because if you interview somebody cold and you know nothing about them, they can look good on paper, but not really do the job that you need. We were trying to get people that aligned with our beliefs, which is harder and harder to do the larger and larger companies get. So I'll kind of backtrack just a little bit on the time frame of our business, and I hope I answered that question about employees.
Right.
In 2012, when I bought Don out, Tanya and I became 100% owners of Masterbuilt for the first time. And we did that from 2012 until 2016, and kind of gotten it to a point where we either got to continue this journey or maybe look at selling a percentage of the company. And it was a difficult decision. If we had it to do over again, we would still do it. We might do things a little different,
right?
But we decided to sell 70% of Masterbuilt to a private equity group out of New York called Dominus. And we had to come to terms with becoming second.
Yeah, that's right. What I spoke about this morning.
And realizing that we've always had 100% control, 100% ownership, and we're gonna give that up. So my advice to anybody that is ever thinking about selling their company, you need to understand what you're doing when you decide to do it. Because if you want to take a deep breath and be second, if you want to do it for financial reasons and take some money, instead of having it all into one company, take some money off the table, you got to have a reason for doing it, and understand that is not 100% your baby anymore.
That's right. And that would be hard. I can tell you, even on my end, I stepped on past the baton to Brent, and the first 6 months at least, there were decisions I wanted to make or things I'd think of, but they had a different vision, different direction. And I no longer had the voice at the table that I used to have. And I probably could have if I'd have powered my way through, but I wasn't going to do it.
Right.
And so I want, for you, that's got to be because that's been your baby.
Yeah, it has been. And the first year, well, actually, we did it in 2016. The first couple of years were great. Not a whole lot changed, and we got to a point where our board wanted to go in a little bit of a different direction than I was taking the company, which is their prerogative. They got it. Majority of it. So they asked me to step down in January of 2019, have somebody else come in to kind of do things that they wanted to do. It was difficult, but I did, and stayed in the company. They asked me to step down, but they didn't fire me.
Yeah, well, they could. Personally, I think you're the face and the voice of Masterbuilt.
Depends what you ask. But that was difficult, but we accepted it. Life goes on. We're continuing to grow. Well, we went through a change of leadership that lasted about 6 months. And then today we've got a new CEO and president. It's been in the seat now for about 18 months since then. And my goal is to help him be as successful as he can be. Even if it may not be in the exact direction that I want. Tanya and I are still, large percentage owners of the company. Obviously, it behooves us to financially do it for that reason. But we have come in contact, Brother Bill, since 2016 with more unchurched people
Mm-hmm.
in our business
Yeah.
than we've ever
Wow.
come in contact with,
Yeah.
whether it's folks out of New York in our private equity group, whether it's the other portfolio companies within our group, whether it's our new leadership within the company, and our witness to them needs to be to just try to continue to do the right thing
Right.
through this journey.
That's right. That's right.
And
You be to
hopefully-
them what your employees were to you, and
Hopefully.
that's right.
Hopefully.
As long as they don't break some moral code or something.
Yeah.
When they cross your values at some place.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, I'm with you.
So it has been difficult and challenging, but I will say it has allowed me to take a
Yeah.
different deep breath
Yeah.
and know that to take our company where it has been.
Yeah.
Today we have 5 offices in Columbus, Atlanta. We've always had an office in China. We have an office in the Netherlands and in London. So we
How
have
about
5 offices.
Yeah.
Probably over 220 employees today. More on a global scale than we've ever been. In 2016, when I sold the company, 1 year later in 2017, we bought a small company called Smoke Hollow, kind of bolted it onto Masterbuilt. And then a year after that, in 2018, we bought Kamado Joe, which was the ceramic grill, the red ceramic grill.
They're kind of the competitor to the Big Green Egg.
Green Egg,
Yeah, they look
yes.
like they're the red one. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Today, the Big Green Egg is the #1 brand. I would expect pretty soon we will be the #1 brand in that industry.
Yeah.
So we married together 2 brands.
Yeah, the Masterbuilt,
the
Kamado Joe.
Masterbuilt and Kamado Joe, and it married together a lot of different cultures. Not right, not wrong. It might be very different on
I
what
bet
we
that
would
would
do,
be.
but that was the biggest challenge.
In churches, the way they do it in churches, you'll have 2 churches that one has a building and no people, and one has people and no building. So they'll get together and merge.
Yeah.
And it always seems good, but about a year or 2 down the road, all of a sudden they start having bigger differences.
That's right.
But occasionally there's some that really work out. But that's one of the differences.
Yeah, and ours is working out.
Yeah.
Difficult, challenging, but rewarding in a lot of different ways. We do have a great leadership team. It doesn't make it wrong if they do things different.
Right, that's right.
It just makes it different.
Yeah.
And I will say, for our current president and CEO to survive 18 months of COVID,
Yeah.
not easy.
Yeah.
There were so many different dynamics that came into the company. I was in a support role. I was not in the leadership role to go through that.
How did the company respond, and what changes were there and challenges when COVID hit?
So, golly, I'd have to flash back to March of 19, I think.
It's been a year and a half now.
We had just bought a motorhome to travel and do 50+ cooking demonstrations all over the country with Walmart and Home Depot. My son and I were going to do all these marketing and product development. We just bought this motorhome. We were going to tour the country. Well, we found out the first couple of weeks in March that the entire schedule was canceled. So we go from being in the face of all of our consumers to not being able to be in the face of our consumers. We took all the proper precautions and the protocol to run the company.
Right.
We shut down as much as we needed to shut down, put everybody working from home. We were deemed an essential business.
That's true.
We got to eat.
Yeah.
So our warehouse was able to work in person, just like all warehouses were. Doing everything that it was hard because everything changed.
Yeah.
Almost weekly, daily.
Yes.
wear a mask, don't wear a mask, do this. You know, you got to be 6 foot and 12 foot distance.
That's right.
You know, you got to load a truck with somebody, but you know, so it was difficult. But our offices from March of 2020 until today are still, everybody's working from home. So we have limited personnel coming back to our 2 offices here in Atlanta. And then I think we're going to try to open back up more as the fall comes.
Did the business grow or stay the same? Yeah, that's what I found.
Crazy.
There's certain places that said, man, we did better during COVID than any other time.
COVID. So our business was already up, but COVID magnified that even more.
Because everybody had to stay home.
Everybody stayed at home.
Need to grill.
And, yep.
Smoke something.
Back in the mid-2000s when the economy had its issues, instead of going on vacation, people were doing staycations. Well, when you were staying at home, our business actually, we had a downturn just like a lot of people did, but we had a lot of people buying products because they wanted to cook at home. Yeah. COVID was that times 100.
I could see it.
So our supply chain was challenged. Freight costs are challenged. So we had a lot of different challenges within our business, but our sales were through the roof.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that's that's one thing. Certain companies like that. I know, like there was a guy that ran a rock company. He came to me before COVID. He said, "I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I don't have any business." When the COVID came, he tells me, I'm opening a second business in another city. This thing is blowing up.
Yep.
People stayed at home and did landscaping.
That's
and
right.
so he can't get enough rock for them now.
Yeah, so he needed to supply what people are doing.
That's right.
Their own DIY.
Yeah.
DIY.
He said more people are doing yard work now than ever. So,
That's right.
So everything's moving for the first time.
Right.
Now, let me ask you this. What are you're involved also with, was it Masters of Smoke? And
we were.
Okay.
John too, my son, has been working at Masterbuilt. I think he's celebrating his 11th year at Masterbuilt.
How
He's
about
28, started when he's like 17.
Great
so
guy.
he's still within
Great
the company, doing marketing, helping with product development, not development, but quality within our products. And he and I started a Masters of Smoke and did that a little bit during COVID.
Right.
But right now our marketing is going in a little bit of a different direction, so we're not going to be continuing.
I just saw it on
Masters of Smoke.
Instagram one time. I scrolled through Instagram, I saw it, and I said, "Whoa, that on!" And the food looked phenomenal.
That was fun.
Yeah.
To do.
I mean, I'm not kidding. The truth is, and I say this, sometimes we've gone to John and Tanya's house to eat, and instead of going out to get something, we just get something that we cooked last night. It's better than anything you'd get going out to eat. You're a phenomenal cook.
Well, I appreciate that. This past weekend for Memorial Day, on Saturday morning, John and I did tomahawk steak, a T-bone steak, a filet steak, and a New York strip steak, and we smoked the steak on the Gravity Series grill, and then reverse seared it. And we cooked baked beans and mac and cheese and asparagus, and we just a host of foods.
I'm hungry.
And we did that for Fox and Friends. Well, then the next day it was my daughter's birthday, and it was Memorial Day, so we stuck all that in the refrigerator, pull it back out, and and serve up Fox and Friends food for my daughter's birthday.
Your leftovers are better than most people's original main plate.
Fun story there. In our heyday of QVC, it was when our kids were younger. I don't even remember all their ages, but they were in school, so they were constantly having friends over at their house. We took some lessons from y'all, make your house a fun place.
That's right.
You know, everybody wanted to come over to our house.
And you had 3 kids, like teenagers at the stage.
Yep, Brooke. We'll talk about grandkids maybe a little bit. She's doing great with Brian and Whit and Walt. John Boy. She calls him John Boy. He's John too. And Bailey, our youngest, 3 kids growing up. So they would have all their friends over, and we would do QVC. I mean, it was like clockwork every week. Well, while we were at QVC, and we would cook stupid amount of food and then throw it all in the garbage. Well, we were flying back and forth to QVC privately, so we'd take some coolers and we'd load up this food that we cooked and bring it home. So our kids' friends were coming over to the house, and they were eating prime rib. They were eating all these ribs. I mean, like salmon and all this food. And they're like, "Man, y'all cook like nobody's business." It was all leftovers.
That's right.
The dinner y'all came to was leftover QVC food. I don't think we ever told y'all that.
It didn't matter to me. I loved it. I thought it was fabulous.
Great.
All right, now let me ask you too. In your career, it's allowed you, when Masterbuilt blew up, it allowed you to meet a lot of people.
Yes.
People that, I mentioned that day about that second satisfied, how that you can meet a lot of people that you probably didn't know. You've met a lot of well-known personalities, built great relationships. Tell us about some of those folks and and what you've learned.
That has been fun, and we met Rachel Ray at QVC. So we were invited to come to her show in New York. I think her studio's in New York, and did several shows with her. That was fun. Yeah. Met Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
Did his.
I've seen you on his.
His boys mentoring camp, and then ended up doing the girls mentoring camp. Probably for about 5 years. So we fly out to Texas to his ranch, and actually did that several times. And then from there, we do his radio show. We did his TV show several times. That was fun. We met most of the folks at Fox. We did Sean Hannity's radio show for a while. Did several things with him.
And you met Paula Dean one time.
Paula Dean.
You had to put some butter on that.
I had to put some butter on that. So we actually met Paula at QVC. And then after building a relationship with her, she had built this brand new house. And for some reason, she said, hey, you bring your wife and kids up here and stay with us.
Yeah.
So we go to Savannah and stay at her house. And the next morning, she cooked a breakfast for us. And I kid you not, a pot of grits and 1 pound of butter. And she made homemade biscuits that, Mama, I love you, but Paula's biscuits were crazy good.
Wow. And you would know food.
Just developed a really good relationship with her, her husband Michael, tugboat captain.
How about that?
We actually stayed in touch. We don't stay in touch that much anymore, but I did communicate with him a couple of months back and said, hey, we need to come up to Savannah and just drive a motorhome up there and stay. And we hadn't set that up yet, but we're trying to.
That's so cool.
Yeah. That's a lot of people think we've got like really close personal relationships with a lot of people. It's a business relationship.
That's right.
But it's been a good fun relationship.
That's right.
Yeah. Steve Harvey, on a Wednesday before a Thanksgiving, calls me one day and said, hey, don't have my turkey fryer and I can't find one. So we spend like an hour, because it's the day before Thanksgiving. Yeah. Typically, if it's going to sell out, and then, so he calls me about an hour later and he says, hey, one of our employees found one, and he's driving an hour to go get it and come back so he could, because he was cooking his Thanksgiving turkeys every year.
How about that? That's
the Sean Hannity conversation. Our story there, we were trying to do Sean's radio show, and we couldn't afford it because his radio show was too expensive. Well, we get a text from a friend that said, hey, Sean Hannity just asked about your turkey fryer on his show. I was like, what? So we preview it, and it's Tuesday night show, and Sean Hannity said, I'm up at 2 a.m. watching some guy deep fry turkey. Was our infomercial.
Yeah.
And I want one of those products. Well, I was like, Sean Hannity wants one, so we have our people call his people, and they're like, you lost your mind. We're not giving you Sean Hannity's address. I said, look, we don't want anything from him. We just want to send him a turkey fryer. So we overnight him a turkey fryer. He gets it, deep fries his turkey for Thanksgiving, and on his next show, tell the world how awesome this thing is.
How about that?
And from that, developed enough of a relationship with him to be able to get into his radio show. So we have actually wheeled smokers down to Radio City Music Hall in New York to take up to his studio. We deep fried turkeys in the high rise at Radio City Music Hall.
Wow, that's cool.
Show. And it's just that was fun.
Now let me ask you this: when you own a program like that, whether it's whether it's Harvey or Sean or something like that, do you see a bump in the sales there afterwards?
We do.
Yeah.
Mike Huckabee, I will tell you, is probably one of my favorites that we've met through the years. Met at Fox in the plaza, and he spends like 30 minutes with John and I just hanging out.
How about that?
Loved the product, and today he still is a Masterbuilt fan.
Isn't that so?
So he invites us to come do his Huckabee show. Before he ran for president, he had the Saturday night, Sunday night show.
Yep, he sure did.
And we go up there and deep fry a turkey and do a low country seafood boil, and he gave us 11 minutes on his show.
And that's a long time on a broadcast like that.
Crazy.
Yes.
It shut our website
Did it?
down.
Yep. Yeah,
And
that's
our bump in sales from that one was memorable. And in marketing, you got to do a lot of everything, and it's very different today than it was, yesterday, 5 years ago, with digital and social and all that. So you got to do all of the different channels to be able to have your brand out there. We are doing a show with Martina McBride.
Oh, are you? How
coming
about
up,
that?
or she's actually cooking on our Gravity Series product. Bobby Bones was fun.
How about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing is, and the other is, really you're helping people. If I'm at home and suddenly I see you on Huckabee and I'm watching this and you're sounding good, then I'm going to want to go out and learn more about it and buy it. And so
That's the goal.
in the end, I'm grateful. I thank God I watched that program that day.
That's
And
the goal.
Huckabee, by the way, did you know, you know it, I'm sure, he had been a pastor at one time.
He is a strong man of faith.
He had actually he gave his life to God, went to Southwestern Seminary, I think, and then became a pastor for several years of a First Baptist church, and then saw so much in the city he wanted, I think, to try to change it. So that's when he left and went into politics. Yeah.
What I also love about him is, I was like, hey, Governor, if you ever need anything, you call me. He's like, John, thank you, but I will always take care of that. He has never asked for a product. He goes out and buys them and sends them to all of his friends. And I was like, Mike, I'll send you whatever you need.
Right.
He's like, nope, I got it. I got it covered.
He understands. That's so
He
good.
came to Columbus and spoke at a rally. And Tanya and I went out there and got to say hello to him.
How about
He's
that?
a phenomenal person.
Love it.
Yeah,
well, see, the thing that you've met the need with, one is you've got a great product, and then the way you cook it's so good. You can't not like you, John. One is your personality and who you are. But whoever feeds you good.
Well, we can't not like you.
So, well, I can't cook with a flip. I can tell you that.
You and Miss Debbie will do all the cooking.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of the BP Leadership Podcast. Now, if you enjoyed this episode and all of our other ones, we need you to do a few things for us. We need you to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We need you to like these episodes, comment on these episodes, and share them with a friend. We want the world to see the incredible content that Bill Purvis is consistently pushing out right here on this platform, BP Leadership Podcast. So make sure you do that if you haven't subscribed already, whether that's on YouTube or all of our awesome audio platforms that we're listed on, so that everybody can hear this. So make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you share the BP Leadership Podcast.